It is time for another viewer match, and what I got for you today is a Silver League match of Terran versus Zerg. Spawning here in the bottom right hand corner of Asset Plant and playing with the blue Terran SCVs, we have none other than Rano. Rano, the long lost brother of the Rhino. The Rano. It's like an extra species. They're just mostly related. They just have the horn, I suppose. And his opponent, so he's by the way going for a refinery first. I love Silver League games. And his opponent spawning in the opposite corner and playing with the red Zerg drones. He goes by the nickname of Bamboozled. Absolutely love that nickname, Bamboozled. Now already we see that gas first opener into a single SCV into the refinery, into a supply depot, but also an SCV that's being sent across the map. Now Rano has already crossed the 150 mineral count. I was assuming that this was going to be like a proxy barracks, maybe with a tech lab or something on it, maybe proxy marauder, anything along those lines, but he is still saving up the resources. Please tell me he's going to go for proxy command center. Please, Rano, plant down a command center right now, do it. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I've seen this a couple of times in viewer submitted games, and interestingly enough, every single time that I've seen this, players have absolutely freaked out. Please start up on engineering. Yes! Okay, Rano is gonna follow this up with an engineering bay inside of his main base. So here's his plan, right? And like I said, I've seen this a couple of times before. I've got a couple of videos where indeed players are going for a planetary fortress rush, which is what I think that Rano is going for. So he's gonna lift up this command center, land it into the main of the Zerg player, morph it into a planetary fortress, and then try to kill the Zerg player from the inside out. The thing is, technically speaking, this shouldn't really deal a lot of damage, because you cannot land the command center on the creep, right? You can only really like land it in the corner somewhere. Maybe over here is probably the best spot, but it's usually not really gonna, it's really not gonna deal a lot of damage. He's already actually going for one of the planetary fortress upgrades right now as well in the engineering bay. I guess that explains why he decided to go for the refinery this early. He will need 150 gas though, so I think that the third SCV into the gas geyser is not gonna hurt. But regardless, the thing is, I've seen Zerg players absolutely freak out. Some of them have decided to even pull drones against the planetary fortress. And, well, spoiler alert, planetary fortresses are pretty good at dealing damage, okay? I know, if you've played StarCraft 2 like more than 2 times, you probably know of the strength of planetary fortresses. They absolutely shred everything to bits. Command center, though, just simply floating into that main base. He's loaded up the SCV into it as well, landing it right here on the edge of the creep. But yeah, now he's gonna start, he's gonna try and start the planetary fortress, but he needs 150 gas. Put the drones into the gas, or the SCV rather, you're gonna need quite a bit of that. Now already following it up with a barracks as well. Zerg, I mean, he's got vision of it. Finally has realized that something is not quite right. Already got those double evolution chambers now finishing up as well inside of the main base. Finally the planetary fortress gets started, but the SCV has already died. And actually the SCV is really critical. 10 Zerglings are just about to pop out as well here for Bamboozled. Third queen in the natural apparently is now, oh man, you should really send them towards the planetary. I think that actually 3 queens, maybe a couple of drones and 10 Zerglings are going to be able to shut this down before it finishes. It's gonna be a really close call. It's gonna be... No. Zerglings in the natural just simply on idle. I was gonna say, I think they would have been able to kill this if Bamboozled would have responded just a little bit faster. But here comes the planetary. It did indeed finish up, and that means that boom, it's gonna start dealing the damage here to those Zerglings and now the queens as well. And I hit the transfuse. Beautifully done there, Bamboozled. But yeah, it's not gonna be enough. An SCV already queued up right now as well. It's going to immediately be able to start up the repair here on that planetary fortress. Look at it, already hard at work. Just simply bringing the HP of the planetary back up to full, slowly but surely. And while I think that Bamboozled could have probably stopped this, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Now, luckily for him, he's not pulling the drones like I said, right? Some Zerg players have indeed done that. I've seen them do that. It hurts my Zerg heart just seeing all those poor innocent drones die. But Bamboozled instead is just simply going for another command center, or rather another hatchery. He's now producing 3 queens at once. He's also getting his spawning pool about 5 paces to the right and up once again. You figured he does need one of those. But Rano, I mean, what is exactly his follow-up plan? I mean, double gases, right? Or rather that single gas is already going to provide enough gas here for double upgrades for Bamboozled. He's getting himself 3 additional queens, which I like, but he doesn't have a very big economy whatsoever. As a matter of fact, Rano is right now constructing another barracks inside of his own main base, but at the same time, on the other side of the map, there's a factory as well as a barracks already going up. So, I mean, the planetary did some work. It killed a couple of Zerglings. It did some damage to a queen. I think it may have even picked up a drone or 2. Nope, actually, well, no, actually, no. Just the single SCV that died is actually the one thing that went down as far as the worker count goes so far. But Rano, I mean, he committed to a planetary fortress, and right now it's just sort of sitting inside of the main base of the Zerg player. Bamboozled, though, has figured out the response to it. He's now gone for a single spine crawler. That's gonna definitely stop whatever it is that his opponent has got in store for him here. Now, there are already 4 barracks up on a single base. Rano does have a pretty solid amount of workers, actually. He's ahead as far as workers go to his opponent. And, of course, mule mining, I mean, it's gonna significantly increase his income compared to his opponent. Now, I've been a big advocate of players making a bunch of queens extra, right? I've mentioned this on stream many, many times. But the fact of the matter is that, I mean, like, maybe 8 queens or so when you're, like, playing a macro-focused game. How many queens is that? 12? And there's actually 3 just about to come out as well. Bamboozled, I think he's already finished up some of the upgrades. Yeah, he's already at 1-1, so these queens are going to be rather powerful. Bamboozled is going to have a lot of queens available against the planetary fortress as well. He could go for the counterattack. He could go for the response to go for a counterattack. Now, apparently, these 2 Marines are just simply hanging right next to the Overlord. They've got their combat shields already out. They pulled those out of their pockets when the upgrade finished up. They're like, hey, wait, what's that? A combat shield? All right, let me pull it out of my pocket. But a siege tank is now in production. And actually, I quite like this setup here for Rano, right? He doesn't have a massive economy, but neither does his opponent. He's still ahead as far as the worker count goes. And he's got to be capable of eventually killing this main base. I mean, the siege tank definitely has more range than a planetary fortress. So as long as he, like, sort of... I don't think you need a sensor tower, buddy. I don't think you need a sensor tower. I'm just saying. As long as this siege tank is going to be tucked away, right? I think it is going to be capable... Oh, no. All right. He's blocking his own Marines from leaving. I think he is going to be capable of hitting away at that spine crawler, but also, more importantly here, at the hatchery. Drones are immediately evacuated. Queens are now starting to move across the map. The queens are going on a bit of a march. I think that is across the map. So the creep spread, I mean, it's not quite sufficient yet, right? It's not going to reach far enough. Bamboozled doesn't have a lot of units at home, right? Rano doesn't have a lot of units at home. Bamboozled is just simply going to try and see if he can meet this single SCV head on. There we go. It's immediately shut down. I don't think that Rano knows exactly what's going on. He's probably preoccupied looking inside of the main base of his opponent instead. Main hatchery does end up falling here. Good luck trying to engage into this turtled up position here of the Terran player. But at the same time, there's like... I love it. It's like immediately going for like 9 additional supply depots just to make sure, right? Actually, that's 10 depots in total, 1,000 minerals there. Couple of these things rain across the sky as well, going for some additional income. But here come the queens. Rano right now sees them as well. Bamboozled. But that queen did nothing wrong. Why are you trying to kill that unbuildable plate? Okay. Fair enough, he just really wanted to go ahead and kill that. Now in the main base, right, the Marines are going to town as well right here on that single macro hatchery. Here's the thing though, knock knock, who's there? About how many? 21 queens. And apparently a single hatchery that's also being constructed now. Bamboozled is trying his very best to bamboozle Rano, and Rano is like, LOL. Laughing out loud, LOL. He did not quite expect this amount of queens to go up into his main base. Bamboozled says, I am coming for you. And apparently that means that these queens are gonna try their very best to clean up the main base of the Terran player. I love that. Instead of Rano trying to freak out or trying to figure out exactly what his best follow-up is going to be, instead he decided to open up the chat window to make sure that he gets as much information across to his opponent as he possibly can. Now, Here come the SCVs, though. They're trying their very best to make it past all of these queens. Queens now target firing down the command center, and they successfully managed to do that. There is, of course, still the planetary fortress in the main base, right? So Rano can, technically speaking, on paper, mine from that one as well. But there is a lot of creep spread available right now, and Bamboozled would have to be very generous if he lets all of these SCVs past. Queens, though, still in the main base. They're trying to go for the correct response here, right? They're simply transitioning towards the Queen rush after getting rushed with a planetary fortress. +2 attack missile, though, will not finish up here for Bamboozled, as Marines are going to town on that one as well. Looks like the last of the SCVs actually now ended up dying here as well to these reinforcing Queens, making the total up to 26. Couple of Queens, though, once again trying to make their way back home, as a few others are still inside of that main base, trying their very best to force the supply block out of this Terran player. So, Rano is now going to go after the second spawning pool, and he's now also long distance mining with a couple of SCVs that he earlier used to repair up that planetary fortress. I mean, the planetary cannot lift, so, you know, you cannot, like, land it over at the expansion. He also doesn't have a scan available, actually, to get rid of that creep tumor, so he's gonna, he's gonna deal with that, I guess, by just simply moving on top of the creep. But there is still a big army available here for our player in blue. As a matter of fact, his army supply is looking pretty healthy. These are still Marines, right? They're extremely valuable. They can deal a lot of damage. Combat shields is gonna make them a lot better. A single medevac definitely will help out as well. There are only 21 harvesters available here for Bamboozled, so really this could still go either way depending on where the tanks decide to siege up. Now the Queens, though, they're making their way back home, right? And Rano needs to be extremely careful. I mean, he's giving so much vision radius. Couple of these Zerglings, though, killed for essentially free. Rano is right now trying to figure out if there is still another base here for his Zerg opponent. He doesn't know about the one that is a little bit further away, the one that has the morph up into a lair as well. Now the Queens are going for the run-by. The Queens are going for the run-by. While the Marines and the siege tanks are busy knocking down rocks, the Queens are heading into the main base. They're going to try and see if they can potentially deal a little bit of damage. And actually, the high ground advantage right here is absolutely massive. This medevac is actually very important. This is going to provide a lot of vision, and apparently it will no longer be the case. Not having those siege tanks see anything into the main base is a very big deal. Queens are right now trying to engage with a lot of those Marines, but no, they shut down one of their own tanks. What did that tank do to you, Rano? Why would you try to kill that? Here come the transfuses, though. Bamboozled is trying his very best to just simply transfuse as many of those Queens as he possibly can, keeping them alive for a whole lot longer. And I think that somehow, some way, he successfully bamboozled his opponent. Although, I really don't know why he just... Oh man, why did he decide to go after the rocks here when he knew that he was on creep, right? And why did he attack one of his own siege tanks? What did that siege tank do to him? Now, there's still, of course, the planetary fortress to deal with. The SCVs are now once again huddling in the corner here, trying their very best to hide from the scary Queens. There are only 37 minerals now available in the bank, actually, for Rano, or actually 52 now that he has returned some more. That means that he's still going to be capable of repairing this planetary for a little while longer, but he doesn't have a ton of resources to go ahead and do exactly that. Queens trying to engage here. Of course, the SCVs are going for the repair. Transfuses are being hit. There's still a lot of Queens, though, that are just simply derping around. They're not fighting because they're busy standing around. But the transfuses here are very, very solid. Rano has indeed now got a bit of an issue here. He's run out of minerals, so he can no longer transfuse the planetary fortress. Now trying to fight with the SCVs as well. But the planetary falls, and Bamboozled successfully managed to take out his opponent. I guess what we could say is that he successfully bamboozled his opponent by going for the Queen run-by when the Marines, the medevac, and then the siege tanks were preoccupied. Now, if you got an awesome game yourself as well, you can go ahead and submit it to replays@LowkoTV. Just a simple email address. Attach your .sc2 replay file to that email, and Modlesses and Nuke might very well pick your game for me to go ahead and cast next. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? A special shout out to the Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. But I'll see you in the next one.